Imagine facing a winter so cold the air freezes inside your lungs. No furnace, no thermostat, no electricity humming behind the walls. Just miles of snow, biting wind, and a home built entirely from natural materials. Yet inside that home, families stayed warm. Not just alive, comfortable. How? This is the question that shatters assumptions. Because the truth is simple. Native American communities were not surviving winter by luck or by sitting around a random campfire. They engineered complete heating systems, intelligent, efficient, carefully designed, long before modern technology appeared. What you're about to learn will challenge everything you thought you knew about ancient life. Across North America, winter wasn't a seasonal inconvenience. It was a force that shaped architecture, daily routines, and survival strategies. And instead of fighting the cold with brute force, these communities built homes that worked with nature. Structures that captured heat, guided airflow, and stored warmth long after the fire died down. Pit houses that used the earth itself as insulation. Longhouses that operated like living radiators. Hearths designed not just to burn, but to distribute heat through the entire dwelling. You'll see how stones were heated to glow and then tucked under bedding for long-lasting warmth. How thick layers of sod and packed earth created insulation comparable to modern, energy-efficient designs. How smoke wasn't just vented out, but used to dry interior walls and strengthen the structure. How community living amplified heat in ways most modern homes never consider. This isn't nostalgia, it's engineering. If you want to understand real human ingenuity, solutions born from centuries of observation and adaptation, then stay with this video. And if you're passionate about forgotten technology and ancient innovation, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us as we rediscover how Native Americans mastered the art of staying warm in the coldest winters. Winter in ancient North America was not a mild season. It was a test. From the frozen plains to subarctic forests, temperatures dropped to levels that could endanger anyone caught unprepared. But Native American communities didn't merely brace for winter. They built systems that turned the cold into something manageable, predictable, and in many cases, useful. Their heating strategies went far beyond simply building a fire in the middle of a shelter. The ingenuity begins with understanding that cold air behaves differently inside a home. Communities designed their dwellings to capture heat, block drafts, and circulate warm air where it was needed most. Their solutions were not random or improvised. They were engineered through generations of observation. Every structure, every opening, every layer of insulation served a specific purpose in staying warm. Families understood that a fire alone wasn't enough. Heat had to be retained. Smoke had to be controlled. Warm air had to be kept low where people slept. And above all, fuel had to be used efficiently, since winter storms could make gathering wood difficult for days at a time. The result? Entire heating systems embedded into the architecture of winter homes. Semi-subterranean pit houses use the Earth's natural stability to resist freezing temperatures. Longhouses were designed to warm dozens of people with a single line of hearths. Earth lodges behaved like giant thermal batteries, storing heat in thick walls and releasing it slowly throughout the night. And these structures weren't just shelters, they were survival engines. Every part of them worked in harmony with fire, air, and earth. Over time, many of these techniques were forgotten or overlooked, overshadowed by modern heating systems. But the technology is still there, waiting to be rediscovered. Now let's step deeper into the homes themselves, where architecture did far more than provide a roof. It generated heat. In many Native American communities, the home didn't just contain heat, it generated it. The architecture itself acted as a heating system, designed to capture warmth, store it, and release it slowly through the coldest nights. Nowhere is this more evident than in the semi-subterranean structures built across the northern and western regions of North America. Pit houses were engineering masterpieces disguised as humble shelters. By sinking the living space below ground level, builders use the Earth's natural stability to their advantage. Soil insulates better than any manufactured wall. Temperatures just a few feet underground remain far more stable than the air above, meaning these homes started out warmer before a single flame was lit. Thick roofs built from timber, brush, sod, and tightly packed earth created a thermal blanket that trapped rising heat inside. Longhouses and earth lodges used similar principles. Their thick outer layers, a combination of wood, sod, bark, woven mats, and clay, acted as natural insulation. These materials held warmth like a massive thermal mass, releasing it gradually even after the fire burned low. Rather than fighting the cold, the structure worked with it, slowing heat loss at every point. Every opening was intentional. Doors were kept low and often placed on the side least exposed to winter winds. This prevented heat from rushing out and minimized drafts. Smoke holes and ventilation shafts weren't gaps in design. They were carefully positioned to draw smoke upward while keeping warm air circulating within the living space. Many homes used interior linings of hides, mats, or woven panels to create a double wall effect, forming pockets of warm air much like modern insulation. These weren't just buildings, they were climate-controlled environments built from earth, wood, and knowledge. Fire was the heart of a winter home, but not in the simplistic way most people imagine. To ancient Native American communities, fire wasn't just a flame for cooking. It was a controlled engine of heat distribution, airflow, and long-lasting warmth. Entire dwellings were built around the behavior of fire, transforming a basic blaze into an efficient heating system. Central hearths were placed with exact purpose. In longhouses, several evenly spaced hearths lined the center, creating a chain of heat that radiated through the entire structure. In pit houses and earth lodges, a single central fire sat low, allowing warm air to rise evenly while cooler air settled into predictable patterns. The placement wasn't symbolic, it was mathematical. Builders understood how heat moved, and they used geometry to their advantage. Smoke management required equal ingenuity. Many winter homes featured sophisticated smoke holes, angled vents, or adjustable coverings that allowed smoke to escape without letting cold air rush in. Some structures used internal flues carved into walls or built with clay channels to guide smoke upward. Others relied on a convection effect. Warm air rising through a smoke hole pulled cooler air from low vents, creating a natural circulation loop that kept the interior fresh without sacrificing warmth. Then there was the power of thermal mass, one of the greatest heating secrets of the ancient world. Stones arranged around the hearth absorbed intense heat during the fire's peak. Once the flames died down, these stones continued to radiate warmth for hours, stabilizing nighttime temperatures. Clay platforms, earthen walls, and heavy roofing materials performed the same function, storing heat like a battery. Poisoning these homes, fire wasn't wild. It was guided, shaped, and transformed into a steady source of comfort, proving that ancient heating technology could rival, and sometimes surpass, modern efficiency. Even the warmest home needed smart daily practices to stay comfortable through the winter. Native American communities didn't rely solely on architecture. They complemented their heating systems with personal and communal innovations that turned even the harshest nights into manageable experiences. Clothing played a massive role. Layered garments made from hides, furs, and woven fibers trapped warm air close to the body. Outer layers handled wind and cold, while inner layers kept heat from escaping. These outfits weren't bulky, they were tailored to allow mobility while maximizing insulation. In regions with sub-zero winters, specialized garments were worn at night to enhance warmth, especially during storms when fuel needed to be conserved. Communal living amplified indoor heat. Many winter homes were built to house multiple families. More people meant more warmth, and the architecture supported it. Longhouses, for example, could comfortably host dozens of individuals. Their shared body heat raised interior temperatures significantly, reducing the amount of wood needed to keep the space warm. The warmth produced by daily activity, cooking, repairing tools, moving within the dwelling, contributed to a consistently comfortable environment. Sleeping systems were another innovation often overlooked. Elevated platforms kept sleepers off the cold ground, preventing heat loss. Thick bedding layers made from furs, woven mats, and soft hides created insulating pockets that held warmth throughout the night. In some regions, heated stones were wrapped in hides and placed beneath bedding, acting like ancient hot water bottles that released heat slowly until dawn. These stones were often reheated during the day and reused night after night. Together, these practices formed a complete approach to winter survival, a blend of structure, clothing, community, and clever heat retention. Nothing was left to chance. Endured, it was mastered through knowledge, routine, and cooperation. Standing inside an ancient winter home, it becomes clear that these communities were far ahead of their time. They built warm, efficient living spaces without electricity, manufactured insulation, or industrial materials. Their designs weren't just clever, they were sustainable, low impact, and remarkably adaptable. Today, as modern households wrestle with rising energy costs and environmental concerns, these ancient heating systems offer blueprints worth reconsidering. Every solution they used was rooted in observation. They watched how the wind moved across landscapes, how heat rose and settled, how snow insulated or exposed, and how earth absorbed and released warmth. These insights led to homes that required little fuel yet stayed comfortable through entire winters. Today's architects call this passive heating. Ancient builders lived it. Their use of natural insulation materials, earth, bark, sod, hides, demonstrated an understanding of thermal mass and airflow that aligns with modern eco-design. Instead of battling the cold with constant fuel consumption, they built homes that stored heat, minimized drafts, and encouraged efficient circulation. These same principles underpin contemporary energy-saving innovations: geothermal heating, earth-sheltered homes, thick-walled construction, and strategic ventilation. Even their communal heating strategies have modern relevance. Shared spaces, collective living, and close-knit arrangements reduce heat loss and energy use. In an age where many homes sit half-empty while heating systems work overtime, these ancient models challenge us to rethink how we use our living spaces. Looking back isn't nostalgia, it's inspiration. Ancient winter homes weren't simple dwellings. They were refined systems designed with intelligence and practicality. Their lessons push us to design environments that respect natural forces rather than resist them, and to heat our spaces with strategy instead of excess. If we embrace even a fraction of this knowledge, modern winters might become warmer and far more sustainable. No heating system works without fuel, and winter fuel planning was one of the most important survival tasks in ancient North America. Communities didn't wait for the cold to hit before thinking about firewood. They spent the warmer months gathering, drying, and storing fuel in quantities calculated to last through unpredictable storms. Fire wasn't just warmth, it was life, and managing firewood required planning as deliberate as any architectural design. Wood gathering began long before snowfall. Families collected fallen branches, dead standing trees, driftwood, and cured limbs that burned cleanly without producing excess smoke. Each type of wood had a purpose: fast-burning pieces for quick heat, slow-burning logs for long nights, and resin-rich fragments used to ignite damp kindling when weather turned harsh. Storage was strategic. Wood piles were kept above ground on raised platforms, preventing moisture from creeping in. In some regions, snow was used as insulation. Once the pile was covered in fresh snow, it acted like a protective shell that kept wood surprisingly dry underneath. Other communities built small shelters or lean-tos dedicated entirely to fuel storage, ensuring a reliable supply when storms made gathering impossible. Conservation mattered just as much as collection. Instead of burning massive logs, families used controlled, efficient fires designed to heat the home, cook food, and warm stones all at once. Thick-walled dwellings held heat long after flames died down, meaning less fuel was required. Stones placed around the fire absorbed heat slowly and released it through the night, drastically cutting the need for constant tending. Fires were maintained with intention. If storms lasted days, families rationed fuel based on temperature, workload, and time of day. Nothing burned without purpose. Fuel wasn't a pile of wood. It was a winter strategy, calculated and protected with care. Warmth alone didn't make a winter home livable. Airflow did. Without proper ventilation, smoke would collect, moisture would build, and breathable air would disappear long before the fire burned out. Native American winter homes solved these problems with a level of precision many modern cabins still struggle to achieve. Every dwelling type had a built-in airflow strategy. In semi-subterranean pit houses, cool air settled naturally into the lowest recesses of the room, while warm air rose toward the roof. Builders placed the hearth at the center, allowing heat to spread evenly. Small vents near the floor pulled in fresh air, feeding the fire without creating dangerous drafts. Higher vents and smoke holes released smoke steadily, preventing the room from filling with haze. This natural convection kept the interior warm, clean, and breathable. Longhouses took a different approach. Their length allowed smoke to travel upward and drift along the ceiling before escaping through carefully maintained roof openings. These smoke holes could be adjusted with covers, bark panels, or hide flaps depending on wind direction. Families monitored the sky and adjusted openings throughout the day, ensuring smoke vented efficiently while heat stayed inside. Moisture control was equally important. Winter homes held many people, warm breath, heated stones, and simmering food, all of which produced humidity. Too much moisture caused condensation, weakening structures and lowering temperatures. Builders countered this by using breathable materials such as bark, woven mats, and hides that allowed excess moisture to escape. The slow release of heat from thermal mass helped dry the interior steadily, preventing dampness from settling into bedding or walls. Even snow played its part. When packed around the exterior of a home, it sealed gaps while still allowing interior moisture to escape through dedicated vents. The result was a winter environment that stayed warm, dry, and safe. A perfect balance of fire, air, and structure working together. No single heating method worked for every environment across North America. Winters varied dramatically, from the dense forests of the Northeast to the open plains, from high mountain valleys to desert nights that plunged below freezing. Each region demanded a unique kind of warmth, and Native American communities adapted with remarkable precision. Heating wasn't a one-size-fits-all system. It was an evolving, regional science. In the Northeast woodlands, longhouses stretched across frost-covered ground, heated by a series of controlled hearths arranged down the center. Their thick bark walls and layered mats acted as insulation, while communal living amplified warmth. These structures functioned like thermal corridors, channeling heat through large spaces without wasting fuel. In the plains, mobility mattered as much as warmth. Teepees offered rapid heating with surprising efficiency. Their conical design funneled warm air downward, while smoke flaps allowed precise control of airflow. Inner linings created a double wall effect, trapping heat close to the ground. Even in blizzards, teepees warmed quickly, making them ideal for harsh prairie winters. In the Arctic and subarctic regions, warmth meant survival on another level. Snow houses, temporary shelters, and semi-subterranean homes used the insulating power of snow and earth. A single oil lamp or compact hearth could warm an entire interior, thanks to walls that held heat exceptionally well. Entrances were designed as tunnels or pits, preventing cold air from flooding the living space. In the Southwest, where nights dropped sharply, heating relied on thick-walled adobe structures and strategically placed fire pits. Adobe absorbed heat during the day and released it slowly through the night, creating a stable temperature even in the coldest hours. Every region faced winter differently, monitored, and every community engineered solutions that worked with their landscape, not against it. This regional mastery is one of the most overlooked aspects of ancient heating technology. A winter home was warm during the day because fires were tended constantly. But night demanded a different kind of intelligence. When people lay down to sleep, fuel had to last longer, smoke had to stay manageable, and the fire needed to burn safely without constant attention. This required a nighttime heating strategy far more advanced than simply letting the fire go out. The secret was ember control. Before bedding down, families carefully arranged the fire pit to create a long-lasting core of heat. Slow-burning logs were placed at the bottom, with dense or resin-poor pieces stacked above them. These woods didn't flare, they smoldered. Covered with a thin layer of ash, they produced steady warmth through the night, maintaining a safe glow instead of open flames. Stones played a huge role. During the evening, builders heated large rocks at the edges of the hearth until they radiated deep, penetrating warmth. Once hot, these stones were moved, with tools, not hands, to safe areas beneath bedding platforms or beside sleeping spaces. They acted as ancient radiators, releasing heat for hours even after the fire diminished. Night required vigilance, but not sleeplessness. People took turns checking the fire, adjusting logs, or clearing smoke if wind patterns shifted. This rotation wasn't burdensome, it was part of daily life. A quick stir of embers or a minor shift in a smoke flap could make all the difference between a warm interior and a cold draft creeping across the floor. Safety remained central. Fire pits were reinforced with stone or packed earth, preventing collapse. Tools were kept within reach, but never near bedding. Ash was used to bury sparks before anyone slept. The result was a winter night that stayed warm, controlled, and predictable. Even in the darkest hours, heat never vanished. It simply changed form, lingering in embers, stone, and structure. Even the most advanced heating systems depended on the people who used them. Staying warm wasn't just about architecture or fire design. It was about rhythm, cooperation, and the social discipline that shaped winter life. Inside ancient homes, warmth was created not just by flames and insulated walls, but by routines carried out with purpose and coordination. Every day followed a pattern. At dawn, someone tended the hearth, checking embers, clearing ash, and preparing the fire for the day's tasks. Fresh fuel was added with intention, not too much, not too little. Others opened or adjusted smoke holes and vents to match the weather outside. As the home warmed, morning activities brought movement and energy, adding subtle heat to the interior environment. Cooking was strategically timed. Simmering stews or heated stones placed in water vessels added humidity and warmth, stabilizing indoor temperatures. While meals cooked, clothing was dried, tools were repaired, and bedding was aired out. These small tasks might seem ordinary, but each supported the dwelling's overall heat balance. Evening routines were just as deliberate. Fuel reserves were checked. Stones were heated for nighttime use. Bedding was arranged to trap warmth. Children learned early how to help, smoothing bedding, feeding small sticks into the fire, or fetching dried kindling stored indoors. Cooperation wasn't optional. In longhouses and large winter dwellings, dozens of people shared responsibilities. A single person controlling smoke flaps could improve conditions for everyone. Someone preparing fuel reduced the workload of those managing the fire. Collective awareness created a stable, comfortable environment, even when temperatures outside were dangerously low. This social rhythm ensured that warmth was constant, reliable, and evenly shared. Winter wasn't a battle against the cold. It was a carefully choreographed routine that blended human effort with architectural genius. Inside these ancient homes, heat was a community achievement.